Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're going deep into Indian agriculture. It's not just feeding a nation,
Right.
it's increasingly a global player. We've got this report
Yeah.
from November 2024 called Agriculture and Allied Industries. It's packed with insights
Okay.
on market trends, growth drivers, opportunities.
Oh, wow.
Buckle up. Whether you're prepping for a meeting
Mm-hmm.
or just curious about your food,
Okay.
we're uncovering fascinating facts about Indian agriculture.
Absolutely. And this report goes beyond just farming. It looks at the whole ecosystem,
Okay.
food processing, allied industries.
Yeah.
So we get a broader view
Mm-hmm.
of this sector's impact, which, by the way, employs 55% of India's population.
Wow, that's almost every other person you meet in India. It shows how vital agriculture is to their economy.
Absolutely.
Speaking of economic impact, the report says agriculture contributed 18.3% to India's GDP in 2022-23.
Right.
But wait, there's more. Bain & Co. predicts
Okay.
the sector will reach US $35 billion by 2025.
That's massive.
It is. And those figures are even more impressive when you consider India's global dominance.
Mhm.
They're number one in milk production,
Oh.
contributing a whopping 24% globally.
24%.
Yeah. I have to ask, how are they doing this? Is it just huge herds of cattle?
That's a good question. It's not just quantity, it's efficiency
Okay.
and a deep agricultural heritage. For example, India has these strong dairy cooperatives. They're crucial for collecting, processing, marketing milk,
Okay.
ensuring farmers get fair prices and consumers get quality products.
That's fascinating. It shows a well-organized system can lead to these big production numbers.
Absolutely.
And it's not just milk, right? They're also major in food grains.
Yeah.
Fruits, vegetables, sugar exports. They're the world's second largest exporter for many.
Exactly.
Wow.
And that shows India's role in global food security.
Right.
They're feeding their own huge population, but also contributing to the world's food supply.
Mm.
Then there's fish production. India ranks third globally at 8%,
Wow.
and they're second in aquaculture.
So they're not putting all their eggs in one basket.
Precisely. While traditional farming is still there,
Mm-hmm.
there's a shift towards diversification. Horticulture and livestock are gaining traction.
Interesting.
This is a major growth driver.
This diversification makes me think, have you noticed changes in produce at your local market? I see more variety,
Right.
even exotic fruits and vegetables.
It's a great observation.
Mm-hmm.
As consumer preferences change,
Yeah.
the agricultural landscape adapts. This shift to horticulture also suggests a focus on higher value crops,
Okay.
which can mean more profit for farmers and more diverse output.
Interesting.
Yeah. And this diversification ties in with India's push to be a global hub for millets. They call them Shriyana.
Millets.
Yeah.
Those are grains I haven't heard much about lately. Aren't they considered ancient grains?
They are, and that's why they're making a comeback.
Okay.
Millets are nutritious and climate resilient.
Right.
They fit with the growing interest in healthy and sustainable food.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, India's already a major millet producer, so they have a natural advantage.
So they're using their heritage to meet modern demands. Smart. And speaking of modern markets, what about all those spices? I see them everywhere in stores. Does the report talk about Indian spice exports?
It does. India's a spice powerhouse.
Right.
Think about the last time you had Indian curry or used turmeric.
Oh, yeah.
Those flavors are in high demand globally.
Okay. Now I'm getting hungry. I bet those exports bring in serious money.
You're right. Agricultural exports from India hit U.S. $50.21 billion in 2021-22.
Wow.
That's almost a 20% increase from the year before. Projections for fiscal year 2024 are a bit lower
Okay.
at U.S. $48.9 billion, but that's still huge.
Those are big numbers. It really shows India's growing presence in the global market.
Absolutely.
But with so many people to feed at home, how are they exporting so much?
It's a balancing act for sure.
Right.
But several factors contribute to their export success.
Okay.
High production levels, competitive pricing, and the quality of their produce all play a role.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, the government actively promotes Indian products globally with various initiatives.
It sounds like they have a plan.
Absolutely. They're aiming to make India a key player,
Okay.
not just as a supplier of raw materials, but as a source of value-added products.
That makes sense. Speaking of value-added products, the report also talks about the processed food industry in India.
Yeah.
What's driving that growth? Is it just convenience or are there other factors?
Convenience is a big part of it,
I can imagine.
especially with busy urban lifestyles.
Right.
But there's more odds. Rising incomes, a growing middle class, and changing habits all contribute.
Okay.
People are looking for healthier options, more variety, and products for specific diets.
So it's not just instant noodles anymore.
Not at all. The market's evolving rapidly.
I see.
You see ready-to-eat meals, on-the-go snacks, organic, gluten-free, and vegan options.
That's quite a change. The report mentions this industry will reach U.S. $535 billion by 2025-26.
That's right.
To handle that growth, they'll need serious infrastructure.
You're right. And the report highlights India's investing in cold chain infrastructure. They've added lots of cold storage capacity, individual quick freezing capacity, and milk processing and storage capacity.
I have to admit, I'm not familiar with IQF. What is that exactly?
Individual quick freezing freezes food individually,
Okay.
preserving quality and freshness. Think of frozen berries or veggies that don't clump.
I get it. So better infrastructure means less waste and longer shelf life.
Exactly. It's crucial for quality and safety of processed foods. That builds consumer confidence.
This all points to a very dynamic and evolving agricultural landscape in India.
Right.
They're not just keeping up with global trends, they're aiming to lead.
Yeah.
But I'm curious about the challenges they face. What roadblocks are there?
Well, one of the biggest is the small size of land holdings. Many Indian farmers work on tiny plots of land.
Yeah.
And that can limit their productivity.
Yeah.
And access to modern technologies.
Makes sense. It must be tough to compete globally with limited resources.
Exactly. And this leads to another challenge, access to credit and financing.
Okay.
Many small farmers struggle to get loans to invest. Right.
Whether it's for better seeds, fertilizers, or equipment.
So it's not just having the technology.
Right.
It's making it accessible and affordable for the farmers.
You got it. And that's where innovative solutions are coming in. The report mentions farming as a service, or FES.
FES.
Yeah.
I've heard that term, but I haven't really understood it. Can you explain?
Sure. Farming as a service is basically giving farmers access to technology and services.
Okay.
On a pay-per-use basis. So instead of buying expensive equipment,
Right.
they can rent or subscribe to services like precision farming, drone spraying, or data analytics.
So it's like the sharing economy for agriculture.
You could say that. It makes advanced technologies more affordable, especially for small farmers. It turns fixed costs into variable ones, reducing their financial burden and risk.
That sounds empowering for farmers.
It could be. By helping farmers increase efficiency and productivity,
Right.
FES can boost their incomes and make them more competitive.
This report has been eye-opening. It's incredible how big and complex Indian agriculture is.
It is. We've seen their strengths, their production, their exports, their tech adoption, but also the challenges. It's dynamic and resilient.
Absolutely.
But needs innovation and support to reach its full potential.
I agree. And there's one more idea the report brings: India's potential as a global outsourcing hub for agriculture.
Wow. That's interesting. What does that look like?
So countries facing agricultural challenges, like limited land or tough climates, could invest in India's sector. Imagine vertical farms in India supplying fresh produce to places with little arable land.
So India becomes a key player in the global food supply chain.
Right.
Not just for raw materials, but for finished products, too.
Exactly. It's a bold vision.
Yeah.
It's still early, but the report suggests it's worth exploring.
It's certainly intriguing. It speaks to India's potential in the global agricultural landscape. This deep dive has been fascinating.
It has.
I have a much better understanding of Indian agriculture now.
I'm glad. And for our listeners, I hope this makes you think about your food and where it comes from. Maybe you'll even think about your own role in agriculture's future.
Right.
As a consumer, an investor, or even an innovator.
Those are great points to think about. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into Indian agriculture.
It was my pleasure.
We encourage you to explore further, stay curious, and tune in for more insightful deep dives on The Deep Dive.